Hey everybody, welcome to the RocketGirl Show. I'm Belinda Sandor. Let's get started. Welcome everyone. I'm Belinda Sandor, also known as RocketGirl. Welcome to the RocketGirl Show. For those of you who are joining for the first time, I am the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor aspiring and established virtual assistants to create, grow, and scale their business. So welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm also your host for this weekly live stream, the RocketGirl Show, that airs every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. So I'm glad you're here. Let me know in the comments where you're coming in from. Now, each episode of the RocketGirl Show is packed with useful information about what it takes to run your virtual assistant business, whether you're just starting out or you've been a VA for a while. And I'd love to hear where you're coming in from, so let me know in the comments. Now, today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. Now, I just want you to know that if you're alive, you have it, okay? Let's just say it like it is, because, a lot of us, we struggle and we think we're the only one. So let's just set the playing field there, that everybody has it. It sort of comes and goes, and it's good to know that you're going to have to manage it, right? You're just going to have to manage it. So imposter syndrome is that terrible little voice in your head that's telling you you're not good enough. You don't have what it takes, right? You're never going to amount to anything. And it can come out of the blue when we least expect it. It's never pleasant, right? It's never pleasant. And the first thing, like I said, I want you to know it's normal. So don't try to get rid of it, because that just makes it louder, right? Just like anything that doesn't feel heard, it gets louder. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to manage it. Now, the voice could be your voice. It could be the voice of someone you believe is judging you. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be a spouse. Fill in the blank. It could definitely be any one of those, and it might not be a consistent voice all the time, right? It could be it could shift, which makes it tricky. Now, this voice is creative. It's thoughtful, and it leaves no stone unturned. And here's the thing, is that it takes over our thoughts, and it also has no timeline. So that means that anything that has happened in your whole life is fair game. You could be feeling, having thoughts about something that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when you were 5. I am not kidding. I recently had a conversation with a friend who was really struggling with something that happened in high school. And so you just have to know that this is what it looks like, okay? Now, it usually shows up when we want to expand ourselves. We want to try something new, learn something new, and it just tries to shut us down. Now, imposter syndrome is trying to keep us safe. It's trying to keep us stuck. It's trying to keep us in the same place. But here's the thing. If you want a thriving business, if you want to find the love of your life, if you want to get in really good shape, whatever it is you want, you're going to have to bust through the voices in your head telling you that you can't. And the thing is that you absolutely have a choice. And a lot of people think they're powerless over the voices. That's not true. Just because you think something doesn't mean you have to believe it, right? It doesn't make it true just because you think it. So I want you to monitor your thoughts. I want you to listen to what's going on in your head and really decide, if I think I can't do something, is that just me being scared, or is staying safe, or can I really do that? Can I really do that? And so here's what happens to me when imposter syndrome kicks in. The first thing I notice it, right? I notice the negativity, and I'm human. I generally indulge with it for a couple of minutes, but I know what it feels like in my body, and I don't like it. So I realize what's happening, and I look objectively at the voices and what they're telling me, and I separate myself from the emotions, right? The voice is trying to get me to emotionally attach to it, right? To have fear or anger or fill in the blank. And so you have to keep your emotions separately. And I have this phrase that I say a lot. It's like, you have to watch it like TV, like, oh, what is that? And keep it separate so you can walk around it and say, is that true? Can I really not do that? Or am I just afraid of taking the first steps? So Heather says, my acupuncturist once told me that our monkey mind tries to explain things, and in doing so tells us stories. We can't believe everything we think, and often we need to tell ourselves a new story. Exactly. And thank you for the segue, because here's how I replace the voice in my head. I replace it one thought at a time, all right, with something that makes more sense. So it might sound like this. You know what? You're just scared. You've been scared before. This is not a big deal. This is not a big deal. You can do new things, right? You can do hard things. You have what it takes. That's my favorite phrase. That always gets me, like, believing it. It's like, you have what it takes. And then I think, what step can I take right now? What step can I take right now? By taking action, the voice will quiet down, right? The voice will quiet down, and you can get back to that big thing in your life. So think about what it is you want to accomplish. Now, the first thing is, when you choose a goal and imposter syndrome shows up, I would sit down and say, how clear am I about what I want to achieve, right? How clear? Because when we're not clear about what we want, it can move, and it just sort of morphs, right? And it takes all this energy, and we're not getting where we want to be. So imposter syndrome is real. You are 100% in charge of it, and you just have to practice one better feeling thought at a time, right? One better feeling thought at a time. So don't try to go from I can't do this to I'm a rock star, in one thought. It won't work. You won't believe it. But for example, when I sometimes in the past, thankfully, I've learned to walk my way through it. When I'm creating a website, a web page, like for the debit card course or the template bank or whatever I'm working on, I look at the pages that I've done in the past and I say, oh, those look pretty good. I like those. All right, so now let's do this over here with fill in the blank. And when I get that feeling, I'll remind myself, you know what? You know how to do this. You're going to work with Mark. It's going to be fine. Actually, it's going to be fun. You're going to be a little sad when it's over because you love doing this so much. And yes, it doesn't look good now, but you don't ever stop until you're done. So just relax and enjoy the ride. So it's just those few thoughts at a time. And it's not a one and done. I might get frustrated with how the page is turning out, and then I just do it again. You know what? Look at what you've done so far. This is really good. There's some adjustments to be made, but just stay with it. You got this. You can do it. Okay? So I want you to practice that. It's going to take practice. And you're going to have to do this forever. But once the key is to not, like I said, you can't slap imposter syndrome down. But what you can do is you can shorten the time that it's controlling your brain. All right. So, you see it and you're like, oh yeah, that's not true. Oh yeah, I'm doing that anyway. Okay. So just try to shorten the amount of time it takes to make the shift. That's where your power is. All right. So I want to make sure we have a lot of new people in our community. It's been growing like crazy. And I want to make sure you're all part of our Facebook group. It's called the VA Connection. You'll find it on Facebook. We just hit 50,000 members, and we're going to celebrate that. I'm working on that today. So stay tuned for some fun that we're going to have together. And thank you for watching the Rocket Girl Show. I appreciate it. I'm Belinda Sandor, signing off for now.